Back in September 2020, we sold our house in the UK, then moved to Normandy in France, where we bought an ancient French farmhouse with various outbuildings, including an old barn, a small cottage with 2 woodlands, and 3.5 acres of pastured land in a beautiful national park area. Follow us on our journey as Budo and I renovate the farmhouse, manage our land, and take on many projects for you to enjoy. Let the fun begin. Bonjour everyone et bienvenue.
Welcome to Caravan Corner.
Hope you're all well. We would just like to start off saying a massive thank you to all the comments we had.
Beautiful.
On last week's video regarding Rocky, about the porch, everything. It really meant a lot.
It gives you a good boost, doesn't it?
Yeah, thank you. Know? It was a bit of a tender week, but obviously, you know, we're pushing on forward now, aren't we?
And all them people that mentioned about Rocky and that they had been through similar things, you know, with their pets and that. Our hearts go out to you. It's a terrible time, but we're now pushing on and going forward.
Yeah, we have our good memories, and that is more important than anything else. I would like to start off by saying a big thank you. I did say this last week to Eleanor Lucas, our new Patreon. Also welcome Margaret Hill, who's now joined our Patreon page, and I would like to say a big thank you as well to our Buy Me a Coffees. Let me just get my glasses because I've got one on here. Oh yeah, I remember now. To Rebecca Scone, I hope I pronounced that correctly, who bought us free coffees. Thank you very much. And also I'd like to thank Leslie Davis, thank you very much, who also bought us free coffees. And also as well, again, Doris Bradshaw, who is our wonderful Patreon, and she legend. She's just been so supportive. She's tried to help our channel and just little things, sending Christmas cards, Easter cards. But she's bought us 4 coffees, and she said if we wanted to put it towards the plaque, because obviously Budo's going to be making a lovely plaque for Rocky. But what we're going to do, Doris, is we're going to buy a lovely rose bush to put in the orchard where Rocky lays. So thank you all so much.
It's fantastic. I just want to say one quick thing as well. Thank you to everybody that jumped onto Able 2 channel to subscribe to him. He's nearly there at 1,000. We want to get him over. He needs literally 8 or 9 more people to subscribe. So please just go and subscribe to him. He's got one of those channels where you need this on YouTube. He's a real person, he does a real job, and he has a nice calm way. It's very relaxing to watch his videos.
Natural.
And he works with forestry. He's doing he's making wattle fencings and pickets and so many things. Does charcoal as well, but he's well worth a watch.
Yeah.
It's a nice slow progression into his videos, and he talks away and explains what he's doing. Please subscribe to him. Let's get him over 1,000, because these small YouTube channels are the ones we want to get on, that are good quality channels, especially for the future. All right, guys.
And we
Thank you for that.
And we know you won't let us down.
We know that. I just want to quickly say about obviously subscribing to us as well. If we can get some more subscribers, because we want to try and reach 10,000 in the next, maybe, I don't know, 6 months, 3 to 6 months, which would be lovely. So we've noticed it's sort of creeping up a little bit. I've started to look at it now, because we are literally under 7,000, so that's good.
So we need to keep pushing that. So don't forget to share the video, like the video, and of course subscribe and hit your notification bell so you know when future videos, and tell your friends, you know.
So we better talk about what we're doing. So we've been doing the porch again. Tracy's been doing a lot of behind the back scene work, you know, like sort of clearing up scaffold and tending things, and doing a lot of work that's like unthankful, really, is it? It's just, you don't see it, do you?
Yeah, certain things. I mean, I've done a small video which they'll be seeing, because
they'll see that, because we're going to have this. You've got this video tonight, and you're going to have another one on Monday. So in Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 3 days time, you're going to have another video, rest of the porch, more stuff. Tracy detailed doing sanding and putting on my special mix. And that's another thing I want to quickly say.
Yeah.
Is I'm not trying to be funny and not tell everyone, you know, some of the procedures I do in carpentry and certain geometry and working out, sometimes a bit of trigonometry and how I work things out. I'm not trying to hide that. It's just the way I am. We have trade secrets and we have to keep some to ourselves. You know, I'm sitting guilds trained, so you know, I'm within a guild and we keep that information. But on the mixes, I've got lots of different concoctions of sealing wood, protecting wood, which comes from the old methods, and they come from things which are still standing today, hundreds of years later. And I use these products, if you like, and mix them up myself, always making my own. Right. So once we get into people in the patrons, we've decided to give some of this information up to certain tiers within patrons. Could get this information as I do it, so that's coming for the future.
And if you'd like to join our Patreon page, you'll have behind the scenes footage, you'll have early access of as much of a video that we can give you, because obviously our internet is still not great, but you'll have updates of things that are coming up, which obviously is before the subscribers will know. So there's a lot of fun things on there, isn't there?
Anyway,
you know, you'll be part of our journey.
We've said a lot in this caravan corner, but not a lot what we're doing. So.
Oh, another thing in Monday's video, the champignons or the oyster mushrooms that Albertha, thank you Albertha, which you'll see on a previous video if you go back through our playlist. Albertha shows me how to grow them, and they're growing absolutely beautiful.
They're ready.
They're doubling every day.
They're ready for eating.
I'll be just doing a very short recipe this week
on Monday.
On Monday of me preparing and what I do with the oyster mushrooms. So I hope you enjoy them. Yes.
So moving forward on the porch, it's come on a lot further now. You're going to see some nice detail at the end.
Beautiful.
And little procedure going together. And then on Mondays you'll see Tracy, like I said, doing all the prepping work for it to go back, because it's dry jointed at the moment. Every single joint on this is mortise and tenon. Right, stud mortise and tenon, and a couple of half lap jointing. You've seen how I've put them together, and everything's getting ready for drawdown, so to pull it all tight together once Tracy's done her magic. And then next week, next Friday, you'll see me start on the roof and start putting it all together, and you'll really see it coming together then.
Yeah, and I'll just carry on with the oiling, and also just give you a little update of what my future jobs are going to be doing. And one of my jobs will be one of my favourite jobs, and I will be starting the pointing round the back of the house.
Yeah, that's a little bit in the future.
Yeah, and then coming back and forth.
But we'll get set up for that.
Yeah, I'll get.
Anyway, on that note, what do you think?
Yes.
We'll say goodbye.
We chatted for 10 minutes before
we chatted too long. Sorry about that. But we've we like
Chaz and Dave. They won't stop talking.
They probably don't know that.
I think a lot of them will.
But anyway, we've had a good week. We're moving forwards now. It's getting better again. Obviously, we had a few bad weeks, but now we're going forwards again.
Yep.
And I'd like to thank you everyone again, and enjoy the video. Send us your comments, because we love reading them, and we answer every one of them. Every single one we will answer. And also I answer all the replies to what I've commented as well. So we're doing a double. Don't forget to give us your comments. Don't matter how long they are. We read them all the way through, and we reply to them, and we enjoy reading them, because for us, when we go to bed, we just set it up and we start to go through them, and it's just lovely. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. And bon weekend. Bye bye. So welcome folks, I'm on the second part of this porch now, on this side, which is behind you. I'm just cutting out the mortises, and I'm going to show you how I do a mortise with the beginning part, and then the hogging out with a drill, and then the cleaning up. But I might speed ramp some of it, because each mortise takes about 15 minutes up to, so because the oak is quite hard and that. But I'll turn you around and zoom you in, and then just watch how I start the mortise off, and my approach to it. Okay, a lot of the stuff I'm doing here is with hand tools, except for a drill. So I'm drilling out holes just to hog out some of the mortise, if you like. Excuse the attire. I'm not turning Japanese or nothing. It's just the sun's down on the back of my neck and I'm just protecting my neck. So let me turn you around and we'll go from there. So first of all, these are my marks for my tenon, for the mortise, sorry, where the tenon's going to go in. This line here and this line here is the actual width of this timber, right? They're all the same. And then what I do is I come in a certain amount, which is only like, let me just get that for you, I'll show you. So I'll use a little chisel. So yeah, it's a 1/2 inch. So I'll use a 1/2 inch chisel and I'll mark them out. That reduces them into this, between the shoulder lines, if you like, or the edges. And then my actual tenon, mortise, sorry, the tenon that goes in here is 1/3 of the timber roughly, so the mortise has to be the same, all right? So what I'll do first of all is I'm going to put my glasses on. I'm getting old now, you see, so I need my glasses. So what I'll do is, you'll see the lines that I marked out with said marking gauge, okay? That will go down there, and because I centered it, I can go both ways anyway. You normally go off a face edge, okay, which I've got a face edge on this side, but if you center it, you can go off both edges, but keep it to a face edge, all right? So that's made them 2 lines there, and then I put a little pencil mark in them just to define them for me while I'm looking down on them, okay? And that one there and there. And what I'll do is I'll take the first surface off just to get me down to create the actual shoulders of everything, you know, just so I can see it. So what I'll do is start on the edge here, okay, line myself up, and I'll start to peel back in between my lines. Okay, I'll just keep going. Still coughing, can't get rid of it. It's about 4 weeks now. Okay, so that's peeled up that surface for me. Then all I do is my chisel, I just rock it off so it defines where I am. And then what I'll do next is I'll just go around the outside on the lines, a light tap, and work my way around. Okay. Because there's a little groove created by the marking gauge, or mortising gauge if you like, it gives somewhere for my chisel to sit into. Okay, and then I'll do that again, what I did earlier. Go down again. Now you can buy machines to do all this. Chainsaw mortises cost about £1.5 grand, but we don't need one of them. Okay, so we're clearing out that now. So that defines there's a ridge all the way around here. Okay, so that's open. That's like a road map, if you like. It tells me where the mortise is going to be. It's going to clear a bit out of this back here. A little bit there, a little bit high. Don't be tempted to keep going through and push that way. Always come back onto the line, drop down in it, check it, keep your chisels nice and straight, nice height, and it cleans it out for you. Okay? Right, so there's that bit. Next bit is this marking gauge is different. It's only got 1 pin on it. Okay, and it's set already to the face side. So what I'll do is I'll run a little line in there, Okay, so that's the centre of that mortise, that line there. All right, and I'll find my pencil. That's the centre there. So the next job is to drill. Basically, this is the only time really which I'm using an electric tool. Okay, so I put it inside there, making sure this edge is inside the shoulder. Okay, I'm going to show you how it goes down. And what you can see is I have a stop here which I set up. It's on the drill, so it won't let me go no further. I want to go down to 70 mil. Okay. That gets a nice big chunk out. I don't know if you can see inside there, but you can see the oak has gone black. And what it is this is green wood. Okay, so it's wet, basically that means, and the tannins in the oak are touching the steel on this, and because that's heating it up, it turns it black. And these tools will go black. I'll just give them a light wash it over, oil over and sand down. So the next one I put on the line again. Okay, next one. Just clear the drill bit off. Be careful because they get hot as well. Okay. And one more. Just for jolly, as Jack the Ripper says. Don't ask me why I said that. Okay. Now we've got a lot of that hogged out. I use a little blower. So we just let that compressor settle down. Now the next job is to clean this out. Now when you're doing this, you always want to start on the grain, the way the grain runs, okay, rather than bashing down there and trying to hog that out first, because you'll just pinch your chisel in and it'll lock in there, and you'll find it hard to get out. Okay, so you clear down the sides first, always chisel nice and straight. Oops, all the way down to the bottom. And this side. It's a repetitive job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear that out both sides, and then I'll bring you back in again. All right. Okay, welcome back. Sorry, I got ahead of myself there, started clearing out. But I wanted to just show you. I've got to my depth, so I use a little steel rule to find my depth. Okay, and I'm just under 2.5 mark, which I want to be. Okay, that gives me a little bit of space at the bottom where the because the tenon's only 2.25 long. Okay, anyway, let me just tap that in. Seal. So all I've got to do now is just clean down this face. And basically I do it, well, I pare it down with a chisel. So I keep my chisel nice and straight, vertical if you like, and I'll just work my way down on this wood. This chisel's very sharp and it clears it out. I'll take you in there in a minute and have a look inside if I can. Okay, so I'll just do it by hand, no hammer.
can't describe the smell to you. It's just so beautiful. Oak is just a lovely smell when it's wet or green. And every time you make a slice in it, you get a little pungent smell of oak. For some reason, it always reminds me of Christmas. I don't know why. I think it used to be when we was kids. My mum used to get a hamper full of straw, and it used to have oak, and it was an oak-like hamper box. And I don't know, it just reminds me of that for some reason. But anyway, so I'm going to take you off there now and just give you a little look inside here, okay? Okay, so as I said, I will show you the mortise as it is down to the bottom. Try and get a visual of that. It's very difficult with the sun. Don't know if you can see down there. Nice and cleared out. Okay, that's good enough for this type of joinery. Okay, and remember that's green oak, so it's going to shrink and swell in certain places. All right, so and that's why we have here. We'll have a draw pin, a hole drilled, and then the wooden pins I showed you how I make with my little gadget I made up. And that goes through a hole here, which will go through a hole in the tenon, and the tenon hole will be 3mm tighter to the shoulder, which is this bit sits here, the shoulder. And that what that will do is the pin will go in, drive in, then pull down and pull the whole top of that down there. But I'm just trying to show you how I do a mortise virtually by hand, a little bit of drilling, and I timed that, and it was just fractionally under 10 minutes. So shows you they do take a bit of time. If you've got, you know, 20 or 30 of these to do, it soon takes up your day. Anyway, well, it's a glorious morning here, folks, at the farmhouse in France, and I just want to show you where we're up to. So I've got the other side up. This side now is up, so you can get a view of the proportions of this. Let me step back. Ignore the brace on the top, that's just holding them together, and that one's bracing them down. Okay, so that gives you the size this is going to be. Okay, and today I'm working on the uprights here, the seal on the bottom of the door, and then onto the arch that's going to go over the top of this. All right, and then on top of that I'm going to build an apex roof up there. It'll be an apex roof at roughly 45 degrees, roughly, and it'll be slate covered, double battened, because that's a necessity in France, so it'll be double battened and felted. Yeah, anyway, I've had some questions, and wow, some of the comments from last week, well, that was yesterday's, I suppose, for us, were absolutely amazing. Thank you for all your thoughts on Rocky as well, Labby. Thanks for all that. Really special to us, that was. Thank you. But I've had a lot of questions about the porch and how I'm going to finish and secure it. Right, so let me explain. So I'm using traditional methods to make this, and I'm making it in an older way of doing things. All right, so what will happen is when I've got it all constructed, I'm going to take it all apart, and I'm just going to show Tracy the process of how we would finish this properly. So she's going to do her magic with the sanding and getting it all nice and cleaned up, and then we're going to put a special mix on of oil. It's a boiled linseed oil and some other components going into it. I like to keep it secret, so sorry about that one, but that's one of my own secrets. But anyway, so I'll be putting on a mix there which is very waterproofed, weatherproofed, and will look after this for many years. So that will seal the wood, and I'll do all the joints, inside the joints, everything that's you know, every part of the wood will be done dry when it's disassembled, and then it will go together. And then after that I'll put another 3 to 4 coats on to really get that finish and that security. In the seals I will be concealing, I'll be cutting out, drilling out some holes, then putting some coach bolts into them and down into this timber, into this blockwork. Before I do that though, I'll be bedding this down into a linseed putty mix I use to bed the seals down, and same with these joints here. Okay, so it compresses it, but it seals the joint as well. Stops when the water comes, it stops it going inside. So there'll be bolts in here coach bolts. There'll also be 2 coach bolts in here and on the other side. And then what will happen is, coming round here, there'll be a post down here, okay, down this wall, which will hold the door for the door jamb, and then there'll be bolts in here as well, right? And what that does, that holds it all rigid. And then up on the top corners, what will hold the top corners is the arch spanning across there with dowel pins going down into the timber, draw dowels. Okay, there'll be 2 on each side, and then there'll be an apex frame with a collar in, which will have a half lap joints on the collars. So it's an old traditional sort of medieval way of building, and you can see many medieval buildings still standing today gloriously. Well, some of them in England, I know there's 1,000 years old in oak and they're still standing. But this is, for me, this is like there's a big Notre Dame in France got burnt down, the roof structure, and it was one of my things. I would have loved to have worked on that, but I don't speak French, so I couldn't have done. But for me, this is my little Notre Dame, if you like. I'm building the oak structure back in a traditional way it would have been done in them days, you know. Bar, the only thing is a little bit of machining. So I've got to machine the timber up. They would have done it with hand tools and hewed it. But on Notre Dame, I think they have done it on the machine stuff anyway. They've machined all the surfaces. When I say machined, so we can get a nice surface finish, okay, on here. But all that you see is all done by hand, okay. Anyway, so that's where we're at now. So I'll get you back later, because I'm going to start on these first, and then start getting towards working on the arch, and then that's the main structure, bar the roof. Well, morning again. I must admit, I'm having a lovely morning this morning, doing this joinery work for the porch. I've just got Elvis Presley's Volume 3 Golden Records playing in the background, my favourite album of his, and just jollying along as you do. Let me turn you around and show you what I'm up to. So, what I've done is I've made up the seal just now. It's taken me about probably 20 minutes or so. So I've cut this angle is a 15 degrees again. Remember that magic number, 15 degrees. Right, so I've cut this down at 15 degrees. You can see my square in a cross line there. I've cut a little rebate in there. I'll show you what that's for in a minute. This is the top of the seal where the door will close into. Excuse me. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hog this bit out here, chunk out, which comes down to this line here. Okay, so I've just now cut that with my saw, and that whole piece will come out. Then I'll set out for a tenon in here, and a mortise for a tenon to go in, and that's the door frame. And then what I use, and I've always used these for years and years, it's a little hard plastic, little rubber fins on the bottom, and then a rubber bubble here. Okay, and what happens is let me just show you that. I'll just I won't push it in yet because it has to be forced in, and hang on, just get that end in. Basically what you have is your door shuts onto it. Okay, there's a rebate on the bottom of the door, and that pushes up and pushes against that bubble and seals the bottom of the door. So you have a little step up here, void underneath, and then what I do is I normally put a weather board on at the front, but I'm going to do something a little bit different because, well, on this one I won't. I will put a weather board on, but on the inside one I won't. But I'll show you that when we get to that. Anyway, sorry if I'm going along too quick on this. So basically there's your post, it comes in there, okay, that's just an off cut, but that will come in there, okay, sit down in there, then there'll be a tenon in there as well, and then this will push up to that. Let me show you that. Let me just try and get that in right for you. So that will push right into there, door will be hinged. Now this is a very English system, not French. I don't know the actual French system for sealing the bottom of the doors. I've not seen any examples of it, so I'm not sure how they do it, but they must know how to do some sort of system. So on this door frame there'll be a rebate here, so hence my rebate plane is out ready to make it. So I'm going to cut a rebate in here all the way through the frame, and that's what the door will shut into, and then there'll be another seal within the rebate. So when these doors shut, they're weathered, and they need to be here. So that's how we address that. And also the French system of hinging the doors is they like to use pins, they slot and drop them into, and their doors are rebated and sit inside the frame. So when they're locked, you can't lift them out on the pins, you have to open the door to lift them off. So that's security reasons. But I'm going to be using traditional English brass butts, which are great big, heavy duty, very expensive brass hinges. There'll be 3 on there holding each door. And then I'll be using 5-lever mortise locks to get the locking mechanism. So I'm trying to do the French stuff as well as the English, you know, married of the two. The thing is if you get the two together, it always makes a good marriage. The two best of both of them, like, you know. Anyway, so that's what I'm up to now. So I'm going to crack on, put my Elvis music back on, and keep working away. It makes me concentrate. Okay, little update. So got the seal down. Okay, the seal's in place now. Put the post in. I've got this little weather strip that goes in there, and I'll bang that in after when we've done all the oiling. I've put on the bishop's hat, mason's mitre, all the way up on this post on one side, this side. I haven't put it on this side because I'm going to be cutting a rebate in there in a minute to accept the door into, so we can put a draft excluder into that as well. But I've done the bishop's hat here. Okay, so it's the same distance as this one over this side going up, and then there's one on the inside as well, and then that's the post. So you sort of get an idea now. It looks like a chunky monkey, as they say. But it's starting to come to now. So next thing, after I've done this post here, I'm then going to cut all the seals, the protruding seal that goes at the front, and then there's one on the door seal as well. And then once they're done, I'll start the archwork. So you can see I've left these posts long, so I'm going to cut the arch in, drop it in position, and then I'll mark out the mortise and tenons on the top of it. This brace here is just temporary. So moving on at a pace, just got to do this side now.
Hello everyone, hope you're all well. Just wanted to give you a little update on the porch so far. It's looking absolutely fabulous. I'm loving all the detailing, the posts now for the front door that they've been put in as well, and the scaffold now it has been erected, so Budo eventually can work on top of the porch doing the roof. But let's just go over and see Budo. He's working on the arch for the porch, but it's quite fascinating what he's doing. Bonjour Budo, how are you?
Right. So, as you can see, I'm planing this up. So that's the arch upside down. It'll be turned up, obviously, to go in its position. Got to cut the tenons on the ends. But what I'm doing is I'm dressing the underneath side because this will be seen, because the door will be sitting inside there, because the door will be arched like that as well. Right, but if you come closer, Trey, if you can look on there, you can see, excuse me, a fly. You can see there's gouges in this, okay, and they're quite deep, and then it's smoother here, and if you come back, you see I'm starting to smooth them out now. These were quite deep, but they're getting smoothed out now. And that's caused by the chainsaw. When I hand cut it with a chainsaw to get that shape, okay, you're never going to get, because the chainsaw is very hard to, it's very hard to control in terms of little tiny movements at the end, because your chainsaws say that long, and if you make a tiny movement this side, it's exaggerated by tenfold at that end. So as you're,
it's like down, it judders, isn't it?
No, it's not judders. No? It's your movements. You because you're not a robot and you're not set. You know, your body moves, and as you move a little bit,
the chainsaw moves.
The chainsaw tip makes these little gouges as it touches on. So we know that as a carpenter. So what we do is we allow for a little bit more thicker, and then we plane it out to suit.
Lovely.
Okay? But this is the biggest job for me, so I need to get this dressed up. This is one of my bench planes, but with this plane, I've the blade inside the plane, if you can see that, right, it's slightly bowed round here, and I use this for hogging out.
Yeah.
For it cuts like this. This is exaggerated, but instead of a flat surface, it cuts
on the rack. Yeah.
And what it does is it digs out the wood for me nice and smooth, and then I get my other plane here, and that's my flat bench plane. So this blade is flat, and then I'll just dress that up after to finish it. So that's how I get this off, and I'll show you quickly. So gets it out quick. I can't use electric plane, even a small one, because this is arcing up and the blade is flat. We want that rounded blade anyway, right? So that one, I'll work on that for the next 20 minutes or so, get that flat. I've just got to do this bit end here now. But I just want to show you something else. If you look over here, Trace, here we have some more French oak. They're not from the tree, and they were what I had 10 pieces of this, didn't I?
Yes, right? You did.
I got them from a house not far from here. A lady was selling them. They were doing alterations, and they'd come out of a building in her home, and they're called bastions, or we call them in England or America joists. But they're very heavy duty. They're about 2 3/4 wide that way, and they're 6 inches deep, right? Now what I was going to do, I was going to cut it out of that tree, the last bit of that tree I've got left. But there's a lot of work involved in that, and I've got these, and they're not doing nothing. They're French oak, same as this. So I thought I'd clean these up, cut them to size, and I'm going to make the rafters from these. So 4 of them, I'll get 8 rafters to make my 4 A-frames. So and then utilising it, and it's still French.
And you can save the part of the oak log for another project, can't you?
It's quite wide, you see, so you can get nice worktops. So, you know, I was talking about the benches.
Yeah.
I'd like to get nice, maybe, see how it goes, but nice waney edged tops. I'm not sure yet, but we'll look at that.
Because it's quite spacious in there. We both stood in the porch, and it's quite surprisingly, you could sit down and someone could come in and out of
you can pass on it. I've designed it so you can pass on it in that doorway.
And what a lovely view to look out your front door. We'd just be sitting in the porch, won't we?
I said to Tracy, it'd be lovely in the winter when it's all covered in.
Yeah.
And if it's pouring with rain, we could just go out and sit in the benches in the porch and just watch the rain all round us, because we've got panoramic view in there.
Keep the front door open with the wood burners on, because we have so much wood now. I think for a couple of years burns.
But we've got probably 2 years worth of firewood at least now for all the appliances. But anyway, coming back to this, we're a long way off that yet. Sitting there and dreaming.
I'm not worried now. I love the summer.
But we're now. I'll get this done. Planed up. Hi folks, so I'm putting this arch in now, okay, and I want to show you a little trick us carpenters can use sometimes to do all the marking out for the arch. There's two ways of doing it. The normal standard way is you do all the geometry on the floor or on a drawing floor, what we call a drawing floor, a rod, and then you work everything off of that, make it in the joinery shop from the drawings, and then you assemble, okay. But you're looking or hoping that you don't get errors when you're doing it that way, so you double check your drawings or your rods. But there's another way of doing it, and because of I'm on my own doing this and it's physical work, lifting up, lifting down, and I've got Tracy to help me, but she's busy as well doing her stuff, I can't keep disassembling this, putting it back, disassembling it, putting it back, all this to try and get these measurements right, okay. So let me spin you around and I'll show you how I get around it. Okay, so what I do, you can see now that's where the arch position is going to come, but it's going to drop down a whole 5 inches, all right, and I'll explain that to you in a second. First thing I do is I make sure that that post is dead plumb, right, and then I make sure that post is dead plumb, and when they're both plumb and the measurements between them are parallel, okay, I put a bracing up the top there, which you saw, which is this one here, and that's screwed in, right, to hold these in their positions. Now the legs, or the posts, no, what we're going to call them, door jambs, right? The door jambs could be out either way. So what I do is I take a measurement at the bottom, across here, because I know that they're sitting on the shoulder cuts and they're in the right position, and that space between there is the correct when I do the rebate for the doors, okay, or for the door, sorry. So then I come up here and I make sure that these posts are dead plumb as well, okay, this way and this way, and this, I'm doing all this before I do any marking out, right. Well, this one was a little bit over that way, and I'm talking like 3 or 4 mil, probably about that thick, okay. It was this way, and that could be just a little bit of a deviation in the post. So what I did is I braced this, because this is in its plumb position, down onto the scaffold, screwed it, then I put a brace in here, and then I put a set of folding wedges in here to push this post over into its correct position. Now it's perfect. Then I take a measurement from here to here, and which is exactly the same as the bottom measurement. So I know that everything there sitting now is right, okay, all the plumb drops are right. You saw me and Tracy put the arch up, just lift it on in its position. I centered it, okay, and then what I do is I know that these are coming in and they're going to be mortised into here in this position, so I mark it off, mark out where the mortises are. I've done that on both sides, okay. Then I mark out the shoulder cuts, which are these cuts here, because this whole timber here is coming down here and then into a mortise in here. These posts are going to mortise up and into there, okay, and so I mark it all out. So what then I'll do then is I'll put my tenons in here, which I've marked out for my tenons to go in here, okay, and there's a shoulder cut again, shoulder cut, yeah, for when this comes down, and then a mortise is going to be driven in here as well, in here, sorry, because it all goes back flush to the posts, right. Hope you're following along, I can understand that. So the next crucial measurement, and this is the most important one, is when this beam drops down into the correct position, which will be this edge, okay, lining up with this edge here, and it will sit in here, so it sits here, okay, and then springs off of there. That's that crucial measurement I have to get from there to there on all of these posts, which I've done, and that is the way round to do it in situ. A lot of carpenters would just do it that way anyway, but I normally do it on a floor on a rod, but I've got no flat floors here really, and then I didn't have time to really make up rods, and I'm doing this off my brain, if you like, rather than actually a drawing, so I'm doing it as I go, but remembering all the laws of, like, you know, plumb, level, square, flush, blah blah blah. Anyway, so that is what's going to happen next. So I'm going to cut these down, sit them all in, do all the mortise work, and then drop this arch in, check it's all for level again, and then that's that set up. And then what we're doing on top of that is you'll have an apex going up there, you'll have a brace coming up the middle, and 2 off of each side possibly. Still ain't got, I'm sort of winging it as I go, like, you know. I might have 3 straight braces, or I might have coming off at an angle, I'm not sure yet. But anyway, I hope that gives you a bit of an insight of what I've got to think about while I'm doing a bit of joinery, carpentrickery. Okay. Just got to do the rebate in the arch of the back for the door and the door jambs, and some bit more rebating work, and then I've I'll basically finish that. Then it's just about it's all dry jointed at the moment, so I'll be putting it together. But let me spin you around, show you quickly. Okay, so tell me what you think, if you like it. So I've done these details, cut them all out and sanded them. I've put the arch in now. Just got to drop that tenon. There's a tenon going through that side. I've just got to drop it down a little bit just to get it to sit on this shoulder, because the wood's slightly twisted. So I'll be fashioning that out, but I've just put it together. But Tracy hasn't seen it yet, and I'm going to shout her down because she's up in the loft doing some work, and I want to see her reaction. So just bear with me, because I know she'll be excited. Hang on, I'm coming. Come here. Come and have a look. I've got the arch on now. Let me just, you've got to see her face, right? You see it?
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. I thought you'd like that.
It's like looking through like a church window.
Oh, is it? All right, let me turn around. Let them have a look as well. Oh, I like that. That's your cheese dish, is it?
It's actually a cheese dish, but because of butter with bacon, so I thought I'd get it and put it in the caravan.
Oh, lovely. So this is the view Tracy just had. Okay, but Tracy, come outside and see where the mouldings are as well. Have a look. Go back out there and look up. It's not fully fitted yet. I'm just put it in for its first fix.
Hang on, let me look from here, oh wow, it's absolutely beautiful. This is what I like.
Yeah.
This is actually at the moment my favourite bit, and the bishop's hat. The
bishop's hat and the details.
The arch just gives it definition and gives it a style, doesn't it?
Well, that arch is what I was, visualising in my drawing. Yeah. And then off that arch will come the bits to sit into the A-frame when I build the roof. But
unless people like I've been fortunate to be here. It was a tree. I know I've said it before, but it's absolutely amazing. It was a tree, then it's a log, then it was sectioned, then planked, then all the pieces, and now you're turning it into a beautiful building, really. Well,
porch, yeah.
A porch. It's a small building.
And the thing is it gets a second life, this tree. Yeah. So that tree is cut down. Instead of it was going for firewood, right? I know it's crazy, isn't it? But it now becomes a porch that could be sitting here for another 200 years. Right, because it's in its density and its size and mass, it would easily last up to 1,000 years if it was looked for after.
I don't think sometimes people realise, do they, with oak doors, oak windows, oak structural buildings, that how long they do last. Sometimes people have in their head, the last 10 or 20 years. They don't. No. Take for instance our barn. We reckon that could be what, 500-600 years old?
Maybe, yeah. But while you're talking, I'm just going to keep them so they can get to see it all. So it's what they say that in the carpentry world is the devil's in the detail. Okay, so all the details will make this porch. And honestly, you haven't seen nothing yet. Once this starts to really go together and all the windows and sashes are made, the doors made, and I finish everything off, you will truly appreciate how beautiful carpentry work is, and what a pleasure it is to do.
And it will be another, as one of our subscribers said in the past video, it will be conversation corner. We'll be sitting in the porch.
Yeah, we could have porch corner, couldn't we? That'd be a good one, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Doesn't it? Porch corner.
Anyway.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful.
Hope you're enjoying this, folks.
When will it be ready for me to sand down?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I've just got to do a few little fitting details, adjustments. Once that's done, then I've got some rebating work to do. But as I'm dismantling now, because this will all be dismantled, and then I'll start to mark out where the dowels are going, and then I'll give you the components. And Tracy's now going to...
I'm ready, aren't I?
Tracy's now... Sorry with the camera. Tracy's now going to... I've set this up for her here, so I've put some stools on a sander. She's going to start sanding. Then I'm going to make up a concoction mix for her for sealing it all, which is based around a boiled, remember, boiled from the past when I talked about that, boiled linseed oil, all right?
And I've got all these recipes in our renovation book.
Yeah.
Everything that we're
That's
doing.
if we ever write a book in the future, maybe. Yeah.
Well, I'm gathering all my recipes together at the moment because they go back quite a few generations in my family. I would love to do a cookbook.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think you should.
Yeah.
And I think we'll, you know, all the information we're putting together here, maybe in the future, write a book of our whole life here and how you do things and procedures and how things are made and put together. But I think we need to get some sort of funding towards that to set that up. But
it's something we can think
about in the future. But anyway, guys.
But it's absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Budo.
No, that's all right. It's not there yet. It's not there yet. It's only halfway. But there you are. One more glimpse. Love that sound. yeah, pleased with those.